Hey, my name is Konstantin. In today's video, I would love to share my experience on the event of Sadguru called the Soak in Ecstasy of Enlightenment. The event itself was absolutely massive. There are 8,500 people in attendance and everyone was seated on the floor. So it was like a huge convention hall. Everyone was on the floor because half of the day was sort of like Sadhguru was speaking and he's telling all sorts of stories about his life, about kind of sharing his wisdom. And another part of it was actually doing exercises like yogic exercises, breathing exercises. And you know, the whole goal really with Soak in Ecstasy of Enlightenment was to really shift emotions within you, which brings us to the very first key lesson that I've learned, which is misery or joy, the way you feel, the way you react to things, is actually a choice. And prior to actually recording this video, something happened and it really kind of pissed me off, made me angry. And I had to kind of like reset before even able to record this video. And the whole video is about sharing me these lessons, right? So I was like instantly like, wow, why am I reacting so negatively to a complete normal kind of like event, right? And that just a few hours ago, that was like in itself for me, like a kind of like a micro lesson, like, hey, you can just shift your mind and take the positive out of particular events without it internally affecting you. And one point that Sadhguru made about whether misery and joy, that misery and joy is actually a choice of yours, how you react to things, is he kind of states that, you know, when we're kids, we're very playful, we really enjoy things, our surrounding, every little very small thing like a piece of leaf, it can be like a world in itself. We are so playful, so joyful, and throughout the conditioning of the society, we kind of become miserable, right? Like when you go into a train or like at 8-9 a.m. in the morning, everyone's like a robot going towards the work, right? Like there's just zero emotion whatsoever. Have a look in the train how people look when they're coming back from work, right? At 5:30, 6 p.m. in the train. You know, here in Melbourne, like if you're around that time in the train, people are just absolutely miserable, right? And that is kind of like a choice, right? First of all, you don't have to work these days. We have the power of the internet where you can become an online entrepreneur. You can work from home, work from anywhere you like, which is something I talk about a lot on this channel. But throughout the conditioning of society, we become very stiff, we become very emotionless. And one exercise Sadhguru kind of like prescribes, or one exercise we were doing with all the attendees there in the hall, was we had to think of kind of very sad events in our lives, and we kind of like had to, and that was absolutely crazy. We had to like scream out like anger, fear, and when like 8,500 people did it at the same time, it's just absolutely crazy. So that was kind of one exercise where you express like the grief, sadness, fear. And another exercise was, you know, looking back at your life and thinking of things that you were very grateful for, very joyful for. And we're kind of like all standing at a time, and there was like this upbeat music and everyone started to dance, to laugh. And it was just absolutely amazing to do that in an attendance of 8,500 people. People were like crying, laughing. It was truly amazing. And that kind of like showed that confirmed the bias that we have as humans, where we can look at the same thing and we can think negatively of the past that manifests in the present moment, or we can look in the future and think, being fearful of the future and feeling that like fear and anger right now. And that moment kind of like showed us that you can be like 10 seconds ago you can be extremely sad, and 20 seconds later you can be, you know, jumping and laughing and smiling and dancing. So that was a beautiful moment as well. So I encourage to, you know, also to express emotions and things that you feel outwardly. If you're super happy, just be incredibly happy, if you're sad, you know, don't be afraid to share those emotions. And I think, you know, because we work so hard and we're just so serious all the time, like that joyfulness and that playfulness kind of like gets lost through our lives. Then the second key lesson that I took from Sadguru is that you're neither the body, neither you're the mind. And what Sadguru tries to teach here is that while you're growing up, your body constantly changes, right? When you're a child, you're, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. You're very small, and while you're growing up, you become bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually, once you're old, the inevitable happens is that, you know, you let go of your body, right? So who are you? Are you this body? Are you your name? Are you your occupation? Right? Most people you ask on the street, like, who are you? Oh, I'm a salesperson, or I own a business, or I have a spouse, I have 2, 3 kids. And that's amazing, right? Like you have these things while you're alive, but at some stage the inevitable happens and those things are no longer there. So we identify ourselves too much with our profession, with our name, with the country that we're from, how many languages we speak. Those things are all outside of ourselves, and I'm personally guilty of that myself. I'm trying to grow a business and make more money, make more revenue, but those are all things that you can't really control. They're outside of yourself, and at the end of your life, you can enjoy them, you can have them, but once it's over, right? So the point that Sadhguru tries to make here is that you have to live life in a present way. Every second is so precious, and you can't live too far in the future, neither in the past. Enjoy every single moment and really try to make the best out of it, because really, truly, what it is that you really have, it's not your body, it's not your mind. The only really thing you have is life itself. Currently, you're listening right now to my voice. You are alive, and that energy, that source, you have for a fixed amount of time, and after that, no one really truly knows what's going to happen, right? And the last point that I learned from Sadhguru is, and this is something I was really impressed by, is how well he was able to tell stories and engage the audience throughout the 12 hours that we're sitting there on the ground. Right? It didn't feel at all that it was 12 hours. He was incredibly entertaining. There was like music playing in between. There's like exercises that we had to do. And he was able to stitch every single story with a lot of value in it and a lot of entertainment and humor, which I was really impressed by. And that's how I remembered a lot of the kind of like the teachings and the knowledge that I had after the event itself. And just storytelling by itself, and that's just something I recently realized, it's so incredibly powerful to transfer knowledge from generation to generation to generation. Look at Jesus Christ, for instance, Muhammad, Buddha, right? They've been all telling stories to a certain community, and that community was able to transfer the knowledge to the future community and the future community. And that's how a lot of the practices and knowledge has been preserved, which I just kind of like, I was mind blown by kind of like that realization that it's, you know, people have been telling stories and stories and stories that contain a specific knowledge, and it's absolutely beautiful. And that's how kind of like Sadhguru was doing things incredibly well by having one core piece of value and kind of like integrate it in a story and make it like a fun, entertaining way that people kind of still keep listening, right? Because if you're just like super boring and tell facts after fact after fact for 12 hours, people are just gonna fall asleep. And that was for me a huge lesson as well. And that was my final key lesson of the event, Soak in Ecstasy of Enlightenment. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of video. It's a bit different style and different kind of topic than I usually do in this channel. I mainly talk about financial freedom, digital marketing, how to grow businesses with paid advertising. This one was definitely a lot different than the usual content I have on my channel, but I really enjoy sharing my experience. I hope you found it incredibly valuable. If you're interested in more, hit like, hit subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them down below. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.